Hey, Gutfoxx here. So we have a special guest back on the channel, Cbrev. Now, why do you think I've only had you on the channel this year? I haven't tried anybody else. Is it because you've broken the mold?
It's because my opinion's superior to everyone else's. So there's no
They'd
one
all just
else
use.
really worthy of your time, I would say, since we're both the two best people in the community.
Well and humbly said, good sir. So, for those that may not been around the first time we did this, me and Cbrev, we had a little ranking competition, and maybe you guys can let us know in the comments who you guys is like the ranks better of. I'm pretty sure I know the answer is what it's going to be. But let me know below. Go check out his channel. I got it linked in the description. So today we're going to take a look at the best pitchers. Now, last time over on your channel, right, we did starting pitchers.
So last time my channel was outfielders and your channel was starting pitchers.
Okay, we had starters. Yeah, okay. So this time we're going to just do pitchers flat out. We're going to combine relievers and starters into one super category, kind of discuss what's going on there, a little bit of the meta around these pitchers and where we can kind of see the pitching market going for a little bit. So we're going to go and count it down from 10 to 1. So I'll have my list on the left, Cbrev's on the right. So at number 10, do you want to go first since you are the guest?
Yeah, I'll go first. So this is starters and relievers together.
Yep.
At number 10, I have 92 Dallas Keuchel still in the top 10.
Interesting.
I think he was mentioned last time.
Yeah. I love this Keuchel. I think you had him rated higher than I did last time.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, interesting. I like that. And then when I started going against Dallas Keuchel, I hate this card. This card is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I think it's his pitch mix, right? And it's his arm angle, and he's a lefty.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. Like a lot of the good cards people use are lefties, like Mauer, and now you got Ruth, Brett, and it's really annoying hitting left on left against sinker cutter. Keuchel's got the arm angle, like you said, and I think one of the things that's cool about his card that's maybe a bit tough to hit is he actually has a straight changeup, which is kind of rare randomly this year. Like a lot of the pitchers throw circle changeups instead. So yeah, the card is still very good.
Do you think circle changeups are hard to nail? I feel like they're like a little wonky for me sometimes.
From a pitching or hitting perspective?
Pitching, like hitting my circle.
Yeah, especially from the stretch. Like, it's one of the most complicated motions. So if they're like quick to the plate, it's really annoying because you have to do it so fast.
Yeah. So, okay, he doesn't really throw with a lot of velocity, but it feels like that sinker really gets on you a little bit, both righty lefty. And I think like early in the year, a lot of people, including myself, was like, God, I hate the cutter. That thing just seems to explode off the bat. Now it feels like, cutter, we've kind of learned, and I think I've seen this a little bit more. I feel like the cutter away from, lefties or like a righty throwing it to a righty, the cutter away is one of the best pitches in the game. Now, a cutter at like, if you have like the Shohei or like we talked about last time, slow cutters or like sideways changeups are more effective, I feel like, because people are trying to pull it. But I don't know. What do you think about the cutter away? Is that like, how would you rank that in your top 10 pitches?
Yeah, it's high. It's really strong. Like, the whole point of the pitch is to get him to swing early. You can get a ton of ground balls on pitches like that, which I think is good. But yeah, I've thrown a lot less cutters inside. I think cutters inside are really bad. So cutters away are pretty much where I throw them. So
yeah, so we just had to like change our entire perspective around the cutter this year because of how it is.
It's almost completely opposite of real life, which is stupid. Like, real life cutters only go inside pretty much.
Because you throw that inside to like any hitter, and it's like going 400 feet. You just gotta hope it's to the wrong side of the foul pole.
Yeah, the best case scenario when you throw an inside cutter on this game is you get them to pull it foul.
Exactly.
It's the best
outcome.
All right,
my number 10, and the bottom of my lists are always kind of trolly, because I want to hear your opinion on certain things. So my number 10 is Susan Gobblecox. Okay, you might not know who Susan Gobblecox is, but it's my cap. Okay, what's your opinion on caps themselves, and especially cap pitchers? Because if it was like he's actually the number one, or she's actually the number one pitcher in the game, with like a sinker, cutter, slurve, screwball, and a changeup at like 70 miles per hour, but I put it at 10 because I want to hear your opinion on caps right away.
First of all, is she taller than 6'8" and way less than 120 pounds?
Nah, dude. She ain't a lady unless she's 280. She's as tall as possible and as thick as possible.
That is intimidating.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she's so low on the list. Yeah, caps are the best pitchers always. They're stupid. I think they should ban sidearm underhand motions on caps. I think that would help.
I mean, can't we just like get rid of all caps? Like switch hitting, hitters. Like there's if it was an MLB draft and there was like the greatest hitter of all time versus the greatest relief pitcher or pitcher of all time, teams would take the hitter. But like people seem to be okay with like cap hitters that are switch hitters, 120 contact power. But they hate cap pitchers. And I for one went with a cap pitcher just so I like can be evil and try and get more people on my side of the get rid of caps argument.
Doing the Lord's work.
Do you think caps should be in the game?
No, I think they shouldn't be in ranked for sure. I've been saying this for years. The problem is they probably put a lot of money into like the equipment in the game, and they probably, have a lot of stubs going through there. So it's probably a moneymaker for them. But yeah, in ranked, I don't know. I think theirs terrible for ranked. But that's interesting. You mentioned that people care more about cap pitchers, even though cap hitters, I guess, are technically better. I think it's part of the saltiness of actually queuing and hitting the 20% to queue into someone's cap.
Yeah.
If you played the same guy 4 other games, you wouldn't face the cap. So that's annoying for sure.
Yeah, so that's why I have a reliever. So that way I can bring it out in any sort of game I want if the guy's a dick to me or something.
You got the meta figured out, dude.
And I mean, like, in the end of the year, like, starting pitchers are going to be great. Because, right, greatest pitchers of all time are starters outside of a couple. But, like, relievers, come on. We're going to have, like, endgame, we're going to have, like, Mays, Griffey. We're going to have all these great cards. But in the end, the bullpen's always the weakest. So that's why I went with reliever this year, too. So it's a combo. All right, who's your number 9?
All right, my number 9 is my first of... I only have 2 relievers on the list.
Weird, me too.
I have 95 Goose Gossage here.
Ooh, okay. Mr. Goose at 9. All right, let's see what you got. What's your opinion on him?
So I basically just took the best righty reliever and the best lefty reliever and left it at that, mostly because I think relievers are a position where you kind of get the least amount of value. And like you said, the cards just generally aren't as good. Like relief pitchers in general are pretty much always worse than starters.
Because they're all failed starters, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And like they don't see a lot of play, right? You don't need relievers until you do, but some games they don't even take the mound. I don't know. It's a weird position to like quantify their value. Yeah. But anyway, I think Goose is the best righty reliever now, just because the hits per 9, K per 9 are off the charts. He's basically almost 125 both when he's super fractured, which is craziness.
Yeah.
And
this early in the game.
The pitch mix is pretty ideal. If he had outlier on the 4-seam, that'd be insane. His 99, if they make it, will have it. But yeah, 4-seam sinker slur.
At that point. Yeah, that's the best reliever in the game, without a doubt. Probably till end game if he has outlier, but he doesn't. Thank God.
Yeah. And I also wanted to mention that I had my best righty reliever below my best lefty reliever because I think the best lefty reliever has more value. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
I feel like lefty relievers this year, at least maybe before Gossage, but I feel like lefty relievers were just straight up better. I feel like we've had better lefty relievers between Britton, Hader, Chapman, like all these lefties. I feel like Loop too.
Mm-hmm.
Are just straight up better outside of maybe the Gossage and one other player, Duran.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that? Like lefties this year are pretty strong.
Yeah, I would agree. Part of it is a lot of the righties are like guys you probably wouldn't even use if it wasn't early game cycle. Like Cbrev comes to mind, which is a guy that never saw play when he was released later in the year. It's like you use them because they're technically the best that you can use right now, but nobody really wants to use Cbrev, I feel like.
Yeah, he could be a disaster out there if somebody knows how to hit a sidewinder. All right, my number 9 is something you liked last time, and I'm only putting at number 9 today because he's boosted up because of inside edge. I'm gonna put Ohtani at 9 just for today's version. Now, you talked about last time on the I would never actually use Ohtani. I think mostly outside of today, due to the boosts. But I think he's solid, and especially with the hitting attributes. Do you still stand at the same place with the hitting bonuses to Shohei, putting him as like a top tier pitcher?
Yeah, the hitting's huge. I do think Shohei's gotten a bit worse as the years gone on. For a couple reasons, they keep hitting his attributes because he's not doing too great in real life.
Yeah.
And then they drastically changed his pitch mix. I don't know if you noticed this, but
Yep. Yeah. The cutter got so much faster, and all of them really did.
every pitch except four seam had an increase in velocity. Like he throws them harder now, which makes his speed differential like a lot closer together. So you mentioned earlier the sideways changeup with Shohei's cutter is not as much of a thing now because it's not so much slower than his fastball. So I think pitcher wise, he actually has gotten pretty worse as the years gone on.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you right there. And he wouldn't have made my list if he wasn't inside edge today. But I just wanted to bring that up again with his boosts being so insane. That we recorded on the right day. All right, number 8 for you.
All right, number 8, I have Roy Halladay.
Weird, me too.
Really, at 8?
Samesies. Yeah,
Nice.
both at 8.
Halladay's a weird one.
Yeah, I agree.
I still don't know how good he is. Like, great hits for 9, pretty good pitch mix. They kind of butchered his pitch mix. I'm sure his 99 will be better. Like his 99 should have a slurve instead of a curveball and stuff. But yeah, his big thing is control and hits per 9, right? So which means by default you're pretty much always pitching to contact. And so I think that leaves you at the mercy of RNG a bit more than other pitchers in the game, which is maybe why he's a bit harder to figure out.
Yeah. He should be way better than he is, I feel like.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like his cutter, sinker, splitter, curve. And you're right about the curveball not being a slider, and I feel like slider and slurve are much more effective than curveball in this game. He's got good control over those pitches. I feel like this is one of those guys, and I think I've seen arguments about like maybe because of 108 hit per 9. Well, I have a parallel too, but because of his high hits per 9, maybe he's better at legend with that than maybe like I feel at All Star he serves it up. I feel like he's pretty easy to see and hit. During events when I've used him, I have not had good luck at all.
Yeah, definitely a Hall of Fame legend guy. Actually, both of the guys in the finals of the circuit used Halladay. So that's interesting to note that like the top comp players think he's worth it on legend. So.
I mean, to be fair, like top comp players are, at least in Madden, they're all follow the leaders.
Yeah,
MLB
true.
may be different, but like top comp guys in Madden this year were using quarterbacks other than Derrick Henry back when a skateboard was a 2AP. They're like, oh man, no, this Russell Wilson's better than Derrick. Derrick Henry's like by the end of the year, I was like, yeah, that's the most powerful card almost ever released in Madden. But like because they try to get so smart with themselves. I'm not knocking the comp guys in MLB, but I'm saying like we shouldn't take everything they say as gospel.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. And the game they play on Legend is so drastically different than the game most people play that it almost makes their opinion less relevant. That sounds mean the way I phrased it, but you know what I'm trying to say.
No, it's exactly true because when you look through like the number of people that actually play on Legend, it is small. Like most people get to World Series and stop playing, right? They get to 900 because not only is Legend just not fun to play on, it's just like there's no more rewards. So like nobody really plays on that difficulty level, and so like I'm trying to find standings here like a moron. I'm passing it by. We just look at like current season. If I go all the way up to like I'm doing it, you can't see it right now, but I'm going all the way up. Like if you look at like the number of people that just stop at like 900 versus the number of people that actually just get there, like number of people that are under 1,000, like there's only 200 people playing over 1,000 rating right now, and there's over 2,000 people, 2,000 to 3,000 people that have made World Series already.
That's
and only
crazy.
200 are above
So
90%
of people that make World Series stop playing. Or I guess don't hit 1,000 rating would be a better phrase.
Yeah, I could keep going down. There's quite a few between. I mean, to get to 950 is a few more games, obviously, but once we get to 930, 936 is like 38 pages of 185. So a majority of people barely play a game or two past 900. But anyways, or they lose enough So number 7 on
All
your
right.
list.
You're going to hate me for this one because I know you hate this card, or at least you did initially.
Okay.
I got Tom Glavine.
Yeah, okay. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on Tom Glavine.
Do you have him in your top 10?
No.
I figured you might not.
I'll
What
give
I
my
like
thoughts in a bit.
what I like about Glavine is his breaking control on all his pitches is crazy. Specifically, his control ratings on like every pitch is over 90. You kind of have to pitch a little weird with him. A lot of people that I have struggled to hit off of when they're using Glavine actually throw a lot of four seams because he can actually throw it up to like 97, which is something you don't expect from a Glavine card.
Yeah.
And his circle change is his best pitch for sure, but still a guy that can definitely get beat around against a good player. Like I don't know. He kind of like doesn't really put away bad players either, I guess you could say. Like he's another pitch to contact guy where you just hope you dot a pitch and that they don't hit it essentially.
Yeah, and the thing is like, all right, so his hits per nine's only 90 versus a lot of the other guys on this list are over 100 right now. And like, yeah, I think you're right about the fastball. And maybe that was something I wasn't working on enough when I was using him, but I wasn't able to fool anybody because his sweeping curve and circle change are, pretty similar speed wise, and the sweeping curve is very easy to see out of the hand. So his best pitch is without a doubt sinker, circle, slider, four seam. Now that you say that, and then the sweeping maybe to catch him once every a couple at bats. And like I like whenever I threw a pitch with this guy, I felt like I was hoping he wasn't gonna smack it, and they did. And it was weird. Like I went against multiple opponents between ranked, event, and nobody, absolutely nobody, got fooled. Like Glavine here, he was one of the guys I had to go. Susan Gutfoxx had to rescue a game that Tom Glavine started for me. Like he went like a inning or two most, and then I had to go like 5 or 6 with Susan to try and claw my way back. They're just like. It was such a horrible debut on like Hall of Fame with him, and yeah, I guess maybe it was just maybe I ran into people that were looking for him day one that he released, but dang, it was tough. I don't know. I don't feel like there was a deception there with lefties, and since he's a lefty, like most people tailor their lineup now to beat lefties. Too.
Yeah. One interesting thing to note too, maybe why he's getting hit around a little more this year, is that he got used a ton last year because he was the NL East collection reward. And he saw tons of play the first couple months. So
yeah. I didn't love him even last year, even though he was better last year than this year because he came out much earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love that card either. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It did well, but this year I feel like I don't know. I can't put him at top 10. All right, my number 7 is a reliever. I'm gonna go with Duran right here as a righty reliever.
I was gonna make that joke.
First, first on YouTube. That means I was completely original with it.
Yeah.
So he's got outlier, and we're getting to the point in the game where like cards are now going to be like outliers or bust, unless it like names Fernando Valenzuela or something, and they got some like psycho, screwball changeup combo. But overall, like splitter, curveball, cutter. Sure, he doesn't have a slider, but the cutter kind of acts a little bit like the slider. The splitter is it's an outlier splitter, so maybe it'd be better if it was an outlier, but I don't know. I think this is my outside. I haven't really used the new Gutfoxx at all. I bought him, but I haven't used them. I haven't needed them because my last few ranked games, I've gone the whole time with my starters. And so Duran. He's my number 1 out of the pen. My most confident player. What do you think about Duran?
Yeah, like you said, outlier is pretty unique this point in the year. He's got 2 outliers, and he actually does have the crazy speed differential between cutter and four seam that we were talking about Shohei used to have. So that's another weapon he's got. Yeah, the card is disgusting. He's so hard to hit.
Yeah.
I think.
And what I like.
Huh?
Oh, go on. Sorry. No, go on.
I was gonna say I think he's not that far behind Gutfoxx for me, even though I have Gutfoxx number 1 for righties.
Yeah, I think like. You know what's weird is like I almost feel like spiking the splitter is better than putting it like just a little bit lower to the zone. I feel like spiking a splitter looks more like a fastball than a splitter like slightly below the zone for some weird reason.
Yeah, with him too because he throws his splitter so hard. It's something with his arm action and like if you throw it straight into the ground, it almost looks like a fastball coming in.
It's weird. I don't know. It's happened against me, and I've started using it against people. I'm like, ha, you swung like an idiot. And then I'm like, yeah, I do that exact same thing too. We just got a supercharged Austin Hayes, it looks like, for the Orioles.
Ooh, nice. What did he do?
I have to look it up. Who's your number 6? I'll look it up while you do that.
All right, my number 6 is the second and last reliever on the list, and it's Zach Britton.
Zach Britton's your number 1 lefty. Okay. Oh, Austin Hayes hit for the cycle today.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if he hit the triple to that deep left field, that stupid wall they put up.
Dude, everybody hates that. It looks ugly too. I don't know why they did that. Maybe Baltimore's trying to distract from the product on the field. So why is Zach your number 1 over, say, Hader, Chapman? We have Franco. Loop's kind of just nice, but I wouldn't put him in discussion for the number 1. But like, why do you like Zach the best?
So this is kind of a hot take because I know a lot of people don't like Zach that much, but thinking about like the most meta lineups and also like late game getting in a big spot, like if you think a lot of people are running Brett, one of Devers, Delgado, Mauer still. Anyway, there's going to be a point late in the game where you can face 2 of the 3 batters that are going to be lefties that they probably don't want to take out. And I personally think that, Britton left on left is one of the hardest matchups because the sinker and the slider dynamic. I think trying to hit Britton left on left is much harder than almost any other reliever matchup from a hitter's perspective. So I think he's the best lefty reliever because he gives you the best chance against the best lefties in the game.
That's a really valid point. The only reason why he isn't in my top right now is because lineups are so righty heavy. Because like him against righties, you gotta hope they chase the slider out of the zone, and like if they don't, we're cooked, right? Like then you're gonna just like pray that they can't time up a sinker inside and outside. Even though sinker all around the zone's a nice pitch, to be fair with him, because it's got outlier and everything. But like talk about differentials. The reason why this card's so hard to hit is there's like almost a 20-mile-per-hour difference between that slider and sinker. And that's why it's so freaking deadly.
Yeah.
So I like that you're looking forward. That wasn't something that I thought about. And Britton's incredible. And you're right. Like when we look at what do you think about Hader's card? Why don't you think Hader's card compares? Just because the lack of sinker, his 2 seams only got like it's got zero control, but like 99 movement on his 2-seamer for Hader. But it's not nearly as good as a.
I still think Hader's great. I don't think he's on Britton's level because I feel like I pitched the same way with Britton and Hader almost. I know Hader doesn't have a sinker, but you can kind of compare the 2-seam and the sinker. But like specifically left on left, it's a lot easier to hit Hader because he throws slower and it's not a sinker, right? Whereas the thing that makes Britton so nasty left on left is if it's tunneling inside to a lefty, like right out of the hand, you have to sell out for the sinker or you're going to be late. And so then you're going to look foolish on a slider. Like you just have so much less time to react with Britton.
Okay, counterpoint. Somebody today told me that they just have their they're on strike zone 1, and so they don't even know the difference between righty and lefty. So therefore, there's no such thing as tunneling righty lefty. So counterpoint, checkmate. You're ruined.
Wait, what? I don't even understand what you said. Wait, what?
If you can't see your righty or lefty batter, it doesn't matter if they're righty or lefty. You could just hit it equally.
Oh, right. That makes perfect sense. Because timing windows are not a thing, right?
No, dude, what are you talking about, dude? That's what I was told today. I think that was a Twitch. Oh no, that might have been a YouTube comment at me, but I agree with that assessment. Hader is a little bit easier to hit lefty than Britton. I don't have either one of them in my top 10, but I do think Britton's a goddamn demon. They've gone so lefty heavy this year. My number 6 is, I feel like a hot take. I'm gonna go Jackson Jobe. Okay.
Ooh.
Now,
sorry, not to cut you off. I almost put him in my top 10. I think he's at 11 if I had an 11.
Yeah. I think he is the second best of the future stars with obvious, we know who number 1 is, but I think he's the second best. Okay, because Brash is out here with a slurve and slider at the exact same speed, and that kind of sucks, and the circle changes about the same speed. Yeah, I think Bello, he throws fast, but his slider circle same speed differential. Job, I think is good. I don't think he's incredible, okay? But he's got like, mid to high 90s stuff with a four seamer at 96. The slider circle curveball, but like the circle goes like as a really drastic drop on it. The curveball a little bit easier to see, so it's not that great of a pitch. And the slider's got some nice like sideways movement. It's because Job goes straight over the top with his pitches, so that's why he's got such great like drop on that circle. But I do not mind. Like this is kind of it's not as dramatic as like Nolan Ryan's late game car with like outlier circle at the same speed as 81, but it's pretty nice when your circle is so different than your fast.
Yeah, I'll say it. I think Jackson Jobe has the best circle changeup in the entire game right now. I think if Jackson Jobe was in the Padres bullpen in the 90s, then they would have cut Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, Hoffman's got Hoffman's is sick, dude. That's like 70 miles per hour. That's a tough one. That's a tough comparison. Him and Hoffman's circle, because Hoffman's nasty. Like I don't necessarily feel confident with Job, but he's delivered me decent results. But like sure, 15 innings pitched. I've only used him in the events. Haven't really played ranked much outside of a few games lately to try out like Maddox and some other cards like that. But like I think Joe, like all the other future stars, have ERAs like 8 and above in the event. Because I faced some goons, dude, like goons lately in the event. And Job's the only one that seems to be able to get outs for me consistently there. What do you think about Job?
I love his slider primary too, and it breaks a ton. I think he's got tons of control in his slider. Yeah, I love Job as a card. I think he's the third best future stars pitcher.
Really? Who'd you go number 2?
We'll get there.
Oh, you got a number. Oh, I see. Okay.
But yeah,
right,
I think the
5?
card's super solid. Yeah, I like Job a lot. All right, my number 5 is Maddox.
Really?
Yeah.
Maddox missed my top 10 barely.
Interesting.
Maddox may be my number 11. I think. Okay, you go first.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like Greg a lot. I think they actually kind of buffed his hits per nine compared to his overall. Like I think 101 hits per nine is pretty close to what his 99 card had last year. We're also getting him a lot earlier this year, which is a plus. Obviously, with Maddox, you get the control and the finesse and all that stuff. I just think the card's super solid. And, we're at a point in the year, again, 101 hits per nine is pretty good. And there's not a lot of penalty for using a guy like Maddox because there's not a lot of fireballers available. There are some that are higher on the list because they're fireballers. But you can, I don't know. It's a good time for finesse pitchers because hitters aren't goons yet. Their PCIs aren't gigantic. Well, some of them are, but in general.
I was about to say.
if you play an average no money spent player, they're not, I guess you could say. So.
But I mean, nobody spent's kind of easy to have, especially with these 95s that they just put out with all the future. There's a lot of big PCIs out there with a lot of big power now. They're for like 10K a pop.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like Maddox. I think his pitches are good. His control's great. I pitch to contact usually anyway, so I think he's solid.
Yeah, I mean, you're such a psycho. You're throwing like up and in sliders consistently. I'm like, what is he doing, dude?
Dude, you should.
Every time
with Maddox, I will
up
throw
and in slider.
With Maddox, I will throw up and in circle changeups to lefties because it looks just like sinkers.
Oh, that's a good point. I love the circle changes. I love up would be like Hoffman's if they're like really slow. So 79's not bad, but it's a 10, 11 mile per hour difference between the sinker cutter to the circle change, which is I feel like slightly better than average. Most changeups, would you say, is like 7, 8 miles per hour difference?
Yeah.
So he's a little bit better than that. Obviously not like, Hoffman or the car we were just looking at with Joe being more like 20 or 30. But yeah, I think like I only played one game with Maddox. So my like experience with him is low, and I have yet to hit against them because he's kind of rare. Like is it kind of weird? Like all these cars, he's only 50,000 stubs, which I say only, which is kind of expensive, but like it's still rare to see him because that's 5 times more expensive than other 95 overall. So it is rare out there, and I think that adds to you. Like since people don't see him a lot right now, it helps you. So the sinker cutter circle slider plus the ton of control on them is nice. I just feel like on higher difficulties, he's better. but a majority of the audience plays at All-Star, which is why I didn't love to put him there because most All-Star players are destroyed by speed,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
can kind of get lucky with some finesse players.
That's totally fair. I agree 100%. And all my top four throw hard, so I agree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just think Maddox is super solid. One super subjective thing with Maddox that I found is I think people get tilted if you're dominating them. Like they get tilted quicker. Like 2 or 3 innings scoreless with Maddox, people are like, "Am I really getting shut out by Greg Maddox right now?" They start swinging at garbage. So
Because it's like, okay, yeah. Like, imagine, like, back in the day, like, when Jamie Moyer was out there throwing, like, 83-mile-per-hour fastballs or something, you'd have, like, Joe Schmo, like, say, yeah, dude, I could dominate this guy. I could hit this. And then you see, like, I don't know, David Ortiz or something, like, swing through a ball for, like, strike three. Like, I could do that. And you see, like, professional athletes. And, yeah, I can see how infuriating that could be. You're absolutely correct.
just a quick segue, since you brought up Jamie Moyer, I read his autobiography a long time ago, and he
Yeah.
said the hitter he hated facing the most was Manny Ramirez because Manny Ramirez would just like shut off his brain against him. He said that Manny would literally just pick a pitch and sit on it for the entire at bat and just wouldn't think, which I thought was hilarious because Moyer's whole game was outthinking you. So, like,
Manny being mad at, yeah.
Manny would just like, I'm gonna hit a changeup this at bat, and if it wasn't a changeup, he would just take it. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it's like back in the day. I watched like I don't know, it was like a kid show or something when I was a kid. Obviously, I don't do it right now. We'll say back in the day, but it was like, how am I gonna beat this computer at chess? And like the big solution was to like play like the dumb moves, like it would work, and then like he obviously ended up winning because that's the whole point of sitcoms or whatever. But like, yeah, I guess it kind of works, right? If you're so off kilter, like nobody knows what you're gonna do next.
Yeah.
You're a wild card. All right, my number 5. I wanted to pay the ultimate respect to Dallas Keuchel.
I love
so I
it.
put him at number 5. He's my highest soft tosser. Dallas Keuchel, we talked about him enough. Same thing, it's his arm motion. I feel like one of my issues with Maddox too is I feel like it's a little bit easier to pick up his arm. But like Dallas Keuchel, David Price, I think is still a solid card too. I'm looking at him right now, but I think overall, I feel confident. Even in like the moonshot event, my MVP was that Dallas Keuchel like 60 overall card because it's just the way the pitches come out. People can't really time it, and talk about getting frustrated with a card too that throws slow in the moonshot. So that's why I went Dallas Keuchel number 5. Let's move on to your number 4.
I love that from you because you were not too convinced last time we did this on Keuchel.
Yeah,
So I like that you've come around.
I totally have. After facing that son of a bitch and using him and him being effective, yeah, I've come around completely.
All right, my number 4 is probably going to surprise you. It is Matt Brash.
Yeah, that surprised me. Why Brash?
So you mentioned slider slurve being the same speed as a downside. I actually think it's a really good weapon. And the reason is you can throw the same pitch in the same tunnel and they end up in 2 different spots, and that can really mess with people's PCI. He has good velo too. He throws 100. And I think, you can get people swinging under sliders a ton if they're looking for slurve and vice versa. And I just think he's really annoying to hit against for that reason. When I pitch with the card, I throw like slider slurve for probably like over 50% of my total pitches. And I don't know. It's hard to read the break well enough to put your PCI on the ball if it's the same break horizontally, but different break vertically. And you're just seeing that constantly.
I would absolutely agree with you there. The issue is like, yeah, man, I totally think that's still a downside though. Like Randy Johnson, like once you see something break, you can kind of, it's hard to see it out of the hand, but then you see the area it's going to, and then you can kind of slam your PCI there, and like your timing is a certain spot. I got lit up. I only pitched 5 innings with him in the event in 3 games, 10 ERA. And I just feel like that's easier, but like Randy Johnson, the 10-mile-per-hour difference, you're slamming, but your timing also has to be slightly different depending on what you are going. So like I feel like you're getting rid of one of the 2 weapons of the slider slurve, but I see what you're saying about the placement differential is super important on those 2 and where they go.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, Randy's slider slurve is so much better that it's almost not even comparable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Brash is good. I've had a ton of success with them. But
Yeah, I
As
can
we
see
always
that.
say with pitching specifically, it's so subjective. It's really like comes down to
And
what you like as a player.
yeah, yeah, and when I've gone against Matt Brash too, he hasn't really like fooled me a ton unless I can't catch heat or something that at bat. Like I've been struggling with fastballs lately for some reason. I don't know what I need to just like go into practice mode and play against like Legend and just time up some fastballs. But other than that, like slider, slurve, changeup, all being within 3 miles per hour. It's you only really have two speeds to time against, and nobody really throws two seamers, so I don't even count that.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I can see the Matt Brash at 5. My number, oh sorry, 4. My number 4 will be the guy we talked about, Goose Gossage.
Nice.
Not only Pirates theme team love, but it is the velocity. It is the fact that he's like one good righty reliever behind him and Duran, and I wanted to kind of like move my relievers up the list to like show that I respect them as people. Um, but yeah, the starters are better than relievers this year by far, and it just makes sense because real life starters have always been better than relievers.
So now you
Because
make
of what
me
they said
feel like
earlier.
I have disappointed my relievers.
They're not going to perform for you anymore.
Yeah. They're
Like,
gonna be on
screw this
strike.
guy. Yeah, they're picketing. They're going to tell all your pitchers not to come into work, to throw nothing but meatballs now. Perfect meatballs. All right, number 3 for you.
My number 3 is Bobby Miller.
That's a solid number 3. I have him in my top 3, but not number 3. Okay.
Nice.
I'll just put him where I have him. I have him at number 2. So let's talk about Bobby Miller.
All right, Bobby Miller is obviously disgusting. You know, we talked about how unique Outlier is at this point in the year. He's also got the sinker, which is significantly slower than his fastball, which is a real weapon.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Biggest knock on Miller is his control on his off speed. And if you play good players, you can't just obviously spam the four seam. But Bobby's so good with his pitch mix that you'll just get free wins against people that can't hit Outlier.
Yeah.
Amazing card for climbing ranked because half your starts are just going to be shutouts, I feel like. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Complete games, 20 strikeouts, shutouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people,
even though you'll hang a slider or a splitter once in a while, it's just going to, they won't be on it. They won't be able to hit it.
Yeah, and after people used him for a couple days, I saw stuff on social media where people were like, he's not that good against good players. And I'm like, well, first of all, nobody is really. Second of all, like most people aren't top tier players that you face, right? So I don't know. Against your average player, he's disgusting.
I think I saw somebody on Reddit say they're pissed off because they kept throwing the outlier fastball and people started to hit it. Like I was like, that's not how you pitch though. That's just throwing.
That's it makes me laugh because that's such a Madden point of view. It's like I run stretch against everybody else and it works. Why isn't it working against this guy?
Yeah, or like it works against me. Why doesn't it work against my opponents? Yeah. I think like almost like my thing with Bobby Miller is like I feel like I want to main the sinker, and then like use
strategy.
the off speed because the sinker is still one of the best sinkers in the game. It has tons of movement because of his arm angle, and it's still like as fast as you can go without outlier. And then like all right, they start timing out the sinker, then boom, four seam, right, bottom corner away. You can throw that anywhere. Same with the sinker, and then splitter, slider, like spike the splitter like we talked about. Slider, curveball, going two different directions. I think curveballs this year kind of stink, so I don't really count that as much. But some people do swing through curveballs if you throw it once in a while. Overall, Bobby Miller, great hits per 9. And then this is the part of the year. This is why I'm glad I also play Madden, because by the time the summer rolls around and we get a bunch of players starting to get outlier, this game gets a lot less fun. Like I think that the game is by far the best spot when we don't see a lot of outliers.
Yeah, the dominant pitchers are kind of what ruins the fun every year. Yeah, I love that you like pitching off the sinker with Bobby. That's an amazing strategy that I tell people to do too, because when you pretend that he throws a sinker primary or you just throw a sinker more than everything else, it allows you to go up and down in velo. Whereas if you're featuring the fastball a lot, you can basically only go down. So I think it's harder to hit when you like keep them in the middle and then you can go either way.
That's right. Tilt them one way or the other. Like, you hit them up or down. That's what if you constantly hit people, if you constantly go for groin shots, you can only really go up from there. Because who cares about leg shots, right? Where if you constantly work the body, you can either go down to the dick or up to the nose.
Right. Yeah. Well said.
So I like that.
Very poetic.
Yeah. So that's why he's one of our top 3. All right. My number 3, though, will be new Yuri Perez.
Ooh.
Use this guy, and he was sickening. Like, dude couldn't touch me. He's got 100 hits per 9 stock, sinker with the outlier, circle change, slurve, and the circle change slurve have a 6 mile per hour difference. The control on the circle change and slurve is 86-78, not the greatest. But then he's got, the pitch break is crazy. Like, the slurve literally breaks from like inside the handedness to righties, from righties to outside the zone, and the slurve's quite the weapon I've seen. So I really enjoyed pitching with this card. The sinker's got good movement, even though it's an outlier. Like, Corbin Bird's sinker is kind of meh because there's not a ton of movement on it. But Yuri's sinker still has the movement, I feel like, even though it's going so fast.
Yeah, card's disgusting. He's my number 2.
Nice.
I would put a disclaimer too. I see he's not on your list, so I would assume he doesn't count. But the new Chris Sale that's gonna come out is definitely top 5 for me when he comes out.
I would agree.
So
I fucking hate that guy.
But anyway, yeah, Yuri is. If Randy wasn't in the game, he'd be number 1, obviously, since he's number 2. But yeah, people have been making the Edward Cabrera comparison, which I think is fair. I don't know if he'll live up to that hype because Cabrera was so dominant last year, and Outlier worked a little bit differently, but pretty close.
More movement.
His stuff is disgusting. He's so hard to hit. Like, things just fly everywhere. I feel like every pitch he throws just breaks all over the place. Like, I feel like I'm trying to like track bullets when he's throwing the ball. I don't know.
It's like, shotgun pellets. Yeah, it's like what yeah, I agree. Yuri is as close to Cabrera because it's interesting because like we got a Cabrera and I use that Cabrera. Dude, that guy are just trash. Like it's his sinker par is like the entire size of the strike zone on the Edward Cabrera we got this year because it's weird because it's like it says it's 82 control on a sinker, but like when you try to use his sinker in Cabrera, it's wildly bad. I think it's because he's got 59 walks per 9 that makes his par so big on it. But like, yeah, it's interesting. Like the evolution of Cabrera is not Cabrera, it's Yuri Perez.
Yeah, I think they probably like custom programmed his par to be that big. They're like, we can't have 2 years of this. Like, we're gonna shadow nerf him.
Absolutely, and then they just totally give it to us right after that.
Yeah. It's like a different department too. So the guy who made the Cabrera decisions, even mad.
Yeah, he's like sent off a bunch of furious emails. Per our previous conversation,
you don't understand. That's amazing.
All right, then obviously our number 1's Randy Johnson. This guy's I want them to lose his rights next year. I want them to just like I'll trade him for Jeter or something. I don't know, dude. It's terrible. This guy is the worst.
I remember last video you asked me if I thought he would be top 5 all year, and I said yeah for sure, and you were like, how do you feel now?
Yeah, I think he'll be top 5 all year. Absolutely. Like, was the last what month did we use Randy Johnson? Because he got buffed before our video. I recall.
Yeah, they changed his delivery. I think like a week or 2 before.
Okay, so yeah, I must not have used them too many games prior to that, but it was the arm angle buff that really took him from being good to insane, I feel like.
Which is a nice change because that was one of Randy's biggest strengths in real life, was just the absurd angle that he threw the ball at.
Yeah, it pops out of his hands. It's just, and it like we've talked about the speed differentials. Because, like, a lot of people, when Randy initially got launched, a lot of people were, like, very meh on him, even before even facing him. And then, so, we've seen that, like, not raw. And then when he first came out, we saw, like, I think Gunsky even said something like, oh, he's not that bad. This was before the arm angle change. Then the arm angle change happened, and then he became what he is right now.
Yeah, he's
it was
unhittable
a little
most games.
Interesting amount. It was an interesting procession of events, we'll say. On that.
Pretty cool to see.
What's that?
So it's pretty cool to see people like get more excited about a live series reward as the year goes on.
Because people were like, this is an L. Like, they thought like live series was L, and I hated Clemente's swing. I still don't really love it, but it's my boy Roberto Clemente. Frank Thomas he's only in my lineup because of Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
And like otherwise, I'd have 3 lefties. I can only use 2 lefties right now, and it fucking sucks. Because I love hitting lefties. Lefties are like I was a lefty IRL, and I hated hitting lefties IRL, and so I hate hitting lefties in this game. And I see a lot of people agree with me.
Yeah, a lot of lineups are pretty righty heavy for sure. I've even seen people getting away from like Utley at second base just to have one less lefty.
Yeah, I had to go Foscue there, and like I had to get rid of my catcher too. I love Mauer. Mauer is one of my favorite cards, but I had to go to Henry Davis because
the Pirates homer.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, anyways, that's our top 10. Let us know in the comments who you thought wore it better. Who's top? I think people are gonna like yours because mine had a bunch of troll jobs there just to ask you questions on a few of the cards.
I don't know. I think we're gonna see a lot more Susan Gobblecocks after this video goes live.
She's nasty. Dude. You don't want to face Susan. Like Susan is like righty Randy, but like even meaner because. Dude, people pause a lot when they face Susan.
That's amazing. I love the little things when you play this game a lot where you can just tell your opponent's mad. I think that stuff cracks me up. Like they'll line out and pause the game or something. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude actually got pissed at me today using Randy in ranked. He actually he scored around a bunt with Shohei to break up my perfect game like the 6th or 7th. And he missed the first one. So I went into like, all right, I brought my third baseman in, and then he bunted it to the first base side and outran Randy to the base. I was like, God dang it. These people are the worst. I had a perfecto going. I had 2 immaculate innings with him, and then I got bunted to break it up. And I was a little, salty on that. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thanks for stopping in. Everybody go check out his channel. I'll have a video over there. We are doing best infielders. As you can see at the top of the screen right there, where it says Best Infielders, SP/RP and DD. We're doing that on his channel, so go check it out. Go sub. Great content creator. Appreciate it, Cbrev.
Thanks for having me on again. It's fun. We'll keep doing it throughout the year, I assume. It's a great time.
Oh, yeah. I'm down. I'm definitely down. All right. See ya.